Coming up on This Week in Radio Tech, we're going to tour a brand new multi-million-dollar, multi-studio broadcast facility. It's still under construction. We get to see, the sausage being made. Isn't that right, sausage maker?
Yeah, andouille, baby, andouille.
That's right. It's coming up next on TWiRT.
This Week in Radio Tech is brought to you by Broadcasters General Store with outstanding service, savings, and support. Online at bgs.cc. By Broadcast Bionics with the Bionic Studio, including talk show control, social media, and visual radio. Broadcast Bionics brings exceptional audience engagement to radio and TV. By Angry Audio. Audio problems disappear when you get angry at angryaudio.com. By Nautel, worry-free transmission you can count on with outstanding control, reliability, efficiencies, and Nautel's unmatched 24/7 customer support. Online at nautel.com. And by Max Connect Wireless, prioritized high-speed internet service designed for transmitter sites and remote broadcasts.
Hey, welcome into This Week in Radio Tech. It's the show where we talk about everything from the microphone to, well, there's no towers here, so we won't talk about the light bulb at the top of the tower.
Let's do not do that.
But we're from here to the data center. How about
that? Works. Data center works. So I'm good with that.
I'm Kirk Harnack. We're in Franklin, Tennessee at the new headquarters for K-Love. Beautiful building here. I'm here with Bill Jackson. Hey, Bill. Good to see you, man.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for spending a good part of your day with me today. I appreciate it.
I'm happy to do. You're a good friend. I want to help you out ever I can.
Well, we're going to get to our show. We're going to take a tour of some studios. And here's what's interesting. Bill is going to take us through some of the construction and design techniques of these studios here at the new K-Love facility. And to tell you what, before we get to our first ad for Nautel, I love them and know them well. Let's get a little taste of what we're going to be looking at. Bill, we're in a brand new building here. And when I first heard of K-Love, corporate name being EMF, that's how I met you guys. It was all in Rockland, California. And I've been out there to the studios once, been friends of my employer, Telos Alliance, for years, but things are moving here to Tennessee. Tell me about
moving out of California, moving the headquarters from Rockland, California to Franklin, Tennessee. In doing so, that requires a new building. And we'll house about 400 employees on site in.
Wow.
There are some remote employees, guys that work on transmitters, things like that, remote public affairs managers that do stuff within the local markets to make sure we're FCC compliant on public service, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Not everybody works here, but many do. And this is the new headquarters. So
we're blessed to have a gorgeous corner window view of the countryside here on the south end of Franklin, Tennessee, the beautiful rolling hills, Interstate 65. We'll get a look at some of that when we get into our video. We shot some video, things that we can't really move this camera around for right now, to give you a really close look at underneath the furniture, the cabling design, all that kind of stuff. And that's all coming up. So there's a lot of cool information coming up in the next hour with 4 pre-recorded video clips that we just did in the last hour.
We call that B-roll in the
B-roll, yeah. Except they're actually kind of, they're not almost packages. They're Nat Sound packages.
Well, if you are in it, we're going to call it A-roll.
A-roll, okay. All right. A-roll. So that's what's coming up. It's going to be an exciting hour. I had fun just shooting this, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. All right. Our show is brought to you in part by our friends at Nautel. And Nautel, they're really big on digital radio, different formats all over the world. But one of those, of course, is HD radio. And Nautel is doing the HD radio test drive. And that allows you, the broadcaster, to try out HD radio in your market, on your station. And, most stations haven't done HD radio. A lot have. There are hundreds and hundreds that have. In fact, one of them's mine in Oxford, Mississippi. We're doing HD radio. We put it on the air a year ago. That was before they came out with a test drive, but we were committed to doing it anyway. So the test drive allows you to save some money in putting HD radio on the air. Now, let's see. I don't know if Suncast has got any graphics about this right now, but if he does, he can put them up. The test drive is based on Nautel's software-based air chain technology. HD digital radio test drive allows broadcasters to try HD radio transmission in your market for up to 6 months to try unlocking listeners putting new content on the air, new revenue potential without the need to install and purchase somewhere around $40 or $50,000 worth of HD gear. An easy, minimal cost option to turn HD radio transmission on so that you can, again, try a new revenue streams. You can try new formats, languages, or even short term pop up stations. You can do that. And you can see the impact on listener retention by getting those graphics on the dashboard. People driving new cars, they punch up your station on HD radio and they get to see album art if you want to transmit that. Certainly, title and artist, like RDS does now, but you can also have your station logo appear. We're doing that in Oxford, Mississippi on my station using all Nautel gear. Well, with this HD radio test drive, what you do is, hey, you need a new or improved FM transmitter anyway. Get you a Nautel transmitter. Oh, we're getting audio back now. Yeah, I'm going to turn this down a little bit here, son. There we go. And if you have a GV transmitter already, you can upgrade it to a GV2 transmitter, Nautel, and that gives you a software path to totally get HD radio on your station. It's the importer, the exporter. You can even do audio processing in that GV2 transmitter. Check it out from Nautel. Contact your favorite Nautel dealer or representative. That's probably Jeff Wilson or Jeff Welton, either one of those, and or maybe somebody else in your area. But check it out from Nautel and go to the website where there's total information there at nautel.com. Thanks, Nautel, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. All right, Bill, we're here, and tell me about this room that we're in. We're going to take a close look at it in a few minutes.
So this is room 5032, as it is on the plans.
Okay.
We're going to call this on air one. When I architect the studio, that studio is able to do any brand that we have natively. I do that through the Livewire infrastructure, AES67 infrastructure, and Pathfinder to be able to route and brand audio the way that we want for that room to be represented.
Wait, so one room can do different brands of your programming?
Yeah, and the secret sauce is, particularly on the Quasar console, when they load a particular show profile,
Yeah.
each jock has their own show profile. That jock is tied to a brand. There's a brand code. And then anytime that brand code is loaded, it allows for the audio routing to go where it needs to go. And then we also use Pathfinder to do some digital signage so that video panels that are behind the talent, the on-air light, which is a 32-inch LCD outside,
yeah.
all that brands, and is all done within Pathfinder and represents the brand well.
Well, now speaking of brands, so just so our audience knows, and so I'm kind of up to date, I know you've got the K-Love brand and this Air One brand. Now, you've got some podcasts, maybe some other brands I'm not aware of.
So Access More is our podcasting brand, but there's also subs of K-Love. There's like K-Love 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s.
Oh my goodness.
All of those are individual, unique brands.
Okay.
We recently launched Air One in Spanish. So it's Air One Música de la... I can never say that last word in Spanish. Sorry, Senor Suarez, in 10th grade high school, I forget. Sorry. And then there are more brands to come that we're going to continue to launch. And if you kind of think of it like Coca-Cola, there's Diet Coke, Vanilla Coke.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So if you think of it that way, we have these different brands, but we need to have those studios in an instant become one of those brands.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So all of that audio is routable and accessible right into the console.
And that includes the audio coming in from the proper automation system with the proper sweepers and liners and branding there.
Correct. All those audio servers or audio sequencers are playing full time. And that is a Livewire ID, a multicast address, if you will. And then when we load a profile, if that is for K-Love 90s, then that audio will get routed into this and just switch.
So we've only got an hour for the show here, and what we're going to present to you is, look, probably we're all engineers here. We've built radio studios, we've rebuilt or we've maintained radio studios, and I wanted you, fellow engineers, to get a view of what Bill has been doing behind the scenes, under the console, inside the furniture, in laying things out. So rather than spend a bunch of time, talking about what's here, let's actually show you what's here and have Bill take you on a bit of a guided tour of different parts of the building. And I think you're going to really enjoy this. I enjoyed hearing it and recording it. So Suncast, our producer, is standing by with our first video cut. I think it's our maybe our longest one, about 8 minutes long. And it's actually Bill giving us a tour of this room under the furniture so we can see what's going on under there. And it'll really open your mind as to some new ways of doing things. Does that sound good, Bill?
Sounds good. Let's do
All
it.
right, let's take a look at that. Suncast, roll it. We're going to start out on this wide shot here in the room. So here we are. There, by the way, there's our TWiRT setup. There's our TWiRT camera, TWiRT laptop. We're connected to the rest of the world over gigabit. And Bill, this space here, this room, it just sounds so good. It sounds so natural. Let's talk about the space itself. What can you comment on the room?
It's good acoustics.
Yeah.
Need good acoustics. We really wanted to find a balance of absorption and diffusion to give a more natural feel to the room.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a combination of absorbing panels, thicker panels in the places and corners where they act kind of as a little bit of bass trapping effect, thinner panels other places, and then diffusers. Because if we do the room too absorbed, the room's going to sound small and it can affect talent voices. They start to strain. You get that Bernoulli effect for their voices.
So you taught me something I did not really realize. If a room is too dead, if there's too much sound absorption, it makes the room sound small.
Correct.
And you want to have some room tone that makes it sound like you're in a reasonable, comfortable room.
Real comfortable room.
Okay.
Correct. You want that room to sound natural. And it's really important for the talent that it sounds natural.
Now, so these dispersion panels, diffusion
panels,
right? They help make the room sound bigger. They don't slap echo. They
spread.
They spread.
Spreads.
Now, and disabuse. I always thought these were curio cabinets for things I buy at Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah, we can easily put some, K-Love and Air One salt and pepper shakers right here. They'll work perfectly. It'll be good for that. So.
All right. Now I want to point out that this room is messy, and because it's under construction right now, so a lot of typical supplies that you'd find in any studio under construction. A great toolbox. Oh, that's nice. We got a whole bunch of Amazon Basics stuff here, and any cable
display
that you
port
need.
to HDMI cables. Microphone cables, different color audio or Cat 6A cables. The colors all mean things for us.
Oh my goodness! Look at all the Studio Hub down here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And now those wall warts, that's not what's keeping you on the air, is it?
Not today.
Okay. Awesome. Well, now when you walk into this room like this, you see the windows in the background.
Come on in.
And you see
the water's warm.
And you see this amazing table. You want to tell us about this table and why it's designed the way it is, and then we'll look under it.
It is an atypical design than you would normally do in a regular radio studio. There were multiple goals to accomplish here. We wanted something that was going to be video friendly. We wanted something that was going to represent the trapezoidal space very well. This wall over here is tilted towards the ceiling. We wanted the furniture to actually complement that in the room. So the furniture has to be bolted to the floor because it's top heavy.
Whoa.
Completely trapezoidal.
Oh.
You see that?
So the bottom of the furniture is smaller than the top.
Exactly.
A lot smaller.
So it's actually bolted to the floor. So we had to scan those cardboard sheets over there. When you get around to shoot them, that's where we had to x-ray the floor to know where we needed to bolt the floor at.
Wait a minute, you didn't use a stud finder to find out where to bolt the floor?
Yeah, no, you can't. It would just keep going off whenever I was in the room, right? So
I know.
You set me up for that.
I know. So you used an X-ray machine?
It's an X-ray machine.
A portable X-ray machine to find out where?
Yeah, almost like one of those side scan sonar things. It drags along the floor.
Wow.
To figure out where the stuff is.
All right. So I know it may be hard to tell on the video, but the bottom of this thing is actually pretty small.
Yep.
And so you're fitting the equipment that has to be in here because most of your gear is what, down the hall or downstairs, right?
Because of the products that Telos Alliance makes,
yeah,
it allows us to reduce the amount of gear you need. So one thing that is not in here is the engine that runs the Quasar console.
Okay.
Okay, so that's in a different room.
Okay.
There are 6 X nodes in here. Those X nodes would be 2 for the mic flavor, one analog node, one AES node, and 2 GPIO node.
Gotcha. Okay, I see the nodes over here.
Yep.
And then
Then on the other column, because those spaces are deeper, that's for automatic transfer switches that are acting as PDUs, because I have A and B power in the room.
PDU stands for
Power distribution unit.
okay. Okay.
So each of those is controllable. Each port is controllable, so we can reboot it remotely, any device that's plugged into it, if necessary, by shutting the power. And it's also combining the power from A and B. Well, I don't want to say it's combining. If the A leg goes out, the B leg will take over in microseconds.
Okay.
So everything will stay up.
Wow.
Beneath that is the power supply for the Quasar console itself.
Yeah.
Then below that would be an 8x8 HDMI matrix with HD base T, so that I can feed video panels throughout the room wherever I need. And then below that, you get to thin clients, which will run the Zeta and Vox Pro virtual machines.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then on the other side, your nodes and patching. And atop is some Angry Audio gear, which is the mic tally gadget that'll allow us to do up to 8 microphones in this room and turn on the Mika lights.
What's the Fostech speaker for?
That's Q speakers.
Q speaker. Okay.
2 of those that are fed from the AES nodes.
Wow.
Or that AES node. The monitors, these monitors coming in next week, we're going to put a 4x4 lighting grid in the room.
Okay.
And these Genelecs will hang from them.
Aha.
And that'll get fed from a node in the IDF closet.
Did you pull these out of the factory before they got to the paint shop?
That's something Genelec offers now. It's called raw. You get the raw finish, so it's the pure aluminum. We call it Vescar.
Wow. Call it what?
Vescar.
Vescar.
Mandalorian.
Oh, I'm not hip to the jive. I'm sorry.
Vescar.
Wow. And now tell me about the trough, the triangle-shaped trough here.
Yeah, we call it the well.
The well.
The well in the island.
All right.
So the reason for the well in the island is we want to have the ability that the Dell monitors for Vox Pro, monitor extension on the host laptop, and Zeta, we want to keep that as low as we can for camera angles. So we can drop things down, cut the Mika poles to the length that we want, and then immediately run the cable through it, and it looks nice, neat, and tidy. So that's where a Mika pole will go. All the small holes is a Mika pole.
Okay.
The larger hole is where our cabling is going to come down.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, we're going to take a look at a different room in a few minutes, but this is a good look. What do you call this room?
On Air 1.
Oh, this is the business end of some.
This is the first of what would be 8 on air rooms. First 4 we'll be building this year. Then the next 4 after the first of the year. There's also a couple of podcast spaces that are getting built out as well. But they will not look like this.
This is not a bad view here, is it? Look at this.
There's your I-65 right there, everybody.
I-65 and hay bales.
Yep.
Off in the distance.
And at some point, we'll be watching construction of a building. But for now, we'll enjoy the foothills.
Wow. That's beautiful. All right. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack and Bill Jackson, and we are going to move on to a different studio in a few minutes. Thanks, Bill. I'm so glad that Bill's studio construction is so much better than my television construction.
Can I help you with that? I have that knowledge.
You have some TV studios here.
Yes.
Yeah. Are they secret? Or has the cat out of the bag?
They're content capture spaces.
Okay. Okay.
And you could do television production. You could do film production in them. You want to shoot the right type of content for, I should say, you want to use the right tools for the right type of content.
Yeah.
So television infrastructure to go in, film style infrastructure to go in.
We've looked at one studio. How many radio type studios have you got here?
Be a total of 8 once we're done.
Okay.
Then 2 podcast rooms of 2 different sizes. Then a small, medium, and large content capture space. A full Dolby Atmos mix room.
Wow.
Then there is 10 production rooms, 2 studio producer rooms, 2 news rooms, and a partridge in a pear tree.
How do you have time to talk to me?
You're my friend. I make time for
I
you.
appreciate that. Wow. All right. So coming up next, we're going to go down the hall and take a look at another studio from a little bit different perspective.
That wall, we're going on the other side of it to see what would be on our 2 or in plan 5033. So
And we're going to see this furniture with the covers on. So
they
you see,
literally just finished hours ago
yeah.
installing the furniture, and you're going to be able to see it without the console laying in it, how this console is flush mounted to it. You're going to see the hole that makes that happen for this particular configuration of a Quasar board. You'll see the furniture base with the side panels on it, and how that adds an aesthetic to it, but it also accomplishes airflow for the equipment,
Mhm.
so things don't overheat. It's just it's pretty cool. I hope you like it.
That is coming up in just a few minutes. We're talking to Bill Jackson. We're at the new facility of K-Love in Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville, Tennessee. We're right next to I-65. I'm Kirk Harnack, and we'll be right back after this word from Broadcast Bionics.
Welcome to the Bionic Studio. The Bionic Studio brings all audience interaction to the fingertips of a production team in radio, TV, and podcast. Our workflow-led system is working 24/7 around the world for small broadcasters and national and international networks. Our telephony module, Bionic Talk Show, allows cost-effective centralization, remote operation, scalability, and resilience across an entire network of stations, but at the same time is used in single-studio self-op environments. Social media curation and activity is now considered a broadcast-critical part of programming. Bionic Social means the studio isn't overwhelmed with a wall of interaction from an ever-growing number of social platforms. We combine SMS, MMS, and email together with a speech-to-text service for listeners using smart speakers. We enable studio teams to curate, filter, and display all platforms in one place, and post text, images, and video content to multiple platforms in one operation. Effortless collection of video content with Bionic Director has helped position some of the world's most successful stations as leaders in viral content, generating appointments to listen and free marketing via retweets and shares. Bionic Contest enables end-to-end tracking of on-air competitions, live reads, and prizes. These can be on-air contests, automated SMS entry, or online. Anywhere, and Skype TX for Radio brings high-quality audio and video contribution into the studio with ease. No need for dedicated PCs to run different applications. Everything is controlled within the Bionic Studio UI, and incoming connections are visible to users along with all other platforms. Our codec integration enables connection, algorithm configuration, and directory to a wide range of IP and ISDN codecs. The Bionic Studio, a unique suite of products designed to enable your talent to work smarter.
Want to thank Broadcast Bionics for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech, and I love their products. They make such amazing software and some hardware solutions as well. Thanks, Broadcast Bionics, for sponsoring our show, This Week in Radio Tech. It's Kirk Harnack in Franklin, Tennessee, at the new building, the new location, the new studios for K-Love. I'm here with Bill Jackson,
Howdy.
Chief Wire Puller, and
Chief Microphone Installer.
there you go.
Well, microphone what? With Chief Mic Plugger Inner. I think it's how it's listed on LinkedIn.
Let's get plugged into the next video. How about that?
Works,
We'll just
works
roll
for me.
right into that. We took a tour of the next room down the hall, and hey, without further ado, let's have Suncast rolling. We're walking into another studio here. This one, wow, it looks so pretty, and there's not a lot of wiring laying around. I guess the wiring is still to come, isn't that right, Phil?
Yeah. This furniture, Matt has just finished installing this furniture into the room.
Yeah.
So you get a representation of what this particular furniture design looks like with the panels over the top of it.
And so the other room will be covered up with these panels.
Yep.
And they're attractive, but they also, I guess, allow airflow, don't they?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's nice. And we haven't drilled the holes in the top yet, have we?
Correct. So
It's
we've
not
come in and we've measured based
Mhm.
on that furniture where these holes need to go. This position is where the host, their informational laptop gets hooked up,
Yeah.
and they'll have a second screen for it. And then over there is virtualized VoxPro instance.
Oh, yeah.
And the VoxPro
Okay.
controller will just sit on top of the console and edit the phone calls over there.
Now's a good time to ask. We touched on it briefly in the first room, But talk a little bit more about this design of the countertop, kind of a modified triangle. Why this design for talent in here?
So, being a talent myself, you pick up on things in studios that you would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of personal projection, if you will, if I'm honest, after sitting behind a console for many years. And I want to replicate some of those experiences that I think would be better for the talent in the room. And they're appreciative of that. The furniture design, this shape is an evolution of 3 different designs. And the idea is we're trying to solve for camera angles, we're trying to solve for closeness of the talent so that they feel tight and within, but we also want to have good sight lines for things. And there is some talent that they come up, they don't necessarily have the best mic technique to get up, within 2 inches of a microphone on an RE20 or you know, you get right up on an SM5B back in the day, the big pill microphones. You get right up on those things. It was what you needed to do. But sometimes you'll have guests and in that typical radio design with host and then position 1, 2, 3, 4. The talent don't think about the mic technique. They just turn their head 90 degrees to talk to an artist that happens to come into the room. This helps solve for that because I can easily talk here, I can easily talk here, I can easily talk here,
And you talk to
and
me.
I can talk to you.
Yeah.
And then I've got, in most cases, 85% of the content is between the host and co-host. Therefore, the 180-degree video rule isn't broken. We'll have to break that when we have someone sit either here or at this end position.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a compromise, and it's a good compromise. You marry the function of the room with the form, and it aesthetically meet this room. Wall angled behind you. The design cues off of the clear-coated walnut diffusers. We want that to kind of match. We want to marry form and function so that it all works together harmoniously.
You know what? I think you're really onto something good here. If I was a board operator and the host, I might be, hosting, talking, and running the board, right? I was a few months ago in the Dominican Republic at a radio station there, and they had similar goals to yours, and they had a table design that was not too different from this one. It
The
was
Avengers design?
the Avengers. There you go. Look, the Avengers design. What a great design though. Let's see. Oh, now I see there's cables coming out of the floor right here. I
Mhm.
guess that's gonna get changed.
It's going to get moved.
Gonna get moved. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, cool. What kind of planning goes into, well, we don't have enough time. We better wrap up in this room.
Years.
What's
What kind of planning?
That's right,
Years of planning. It's called years of planning.
What are we going to see next?
Let's go to the
IDF
closet and
Yeah.
see how the magic sauce gets made.
We'll do it. And you heard it. That's coming up. We're going to see a closet down the hall that has a lot of expensive gear.
I took you in and out of the closet.
That's right.
So we're gonna
Our show's brought to you in part by Henry Engineering and Broadcasters General Store. This is a box called the Henry Superlight. Did you ever install a super relay in your sordid history as an engineer? A Henry super relay?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought everybody had installed at least a dozen of those. I sure did. So for years, we've all, everybody except Bill Jackson has used the Henry Super Relay to turn on tally lights on the air, maybe lights around your microphones, maybe even start the motor on the cassette machine that was scoping your air check that long ago. Well, there's a replacement for that because you don't really need the 110 volt on air light anymore because we have LED lights everywhere. This is the Henry Superlight. The Henry Superlight is designed to run your LED tally lights, on air lights, microphone lights if you need that. It'll still run your cassette deck motor if that's what you really want to do.
You got fun with that though.
One thing that I like about the Henry Superlight is that you can control several of them in a string, like 4 of them in a string. So you could mount all these somewhere like your wiring closet, your rack room, and then you can use Cat 5 cable to go between them, and you can address each one. There's a little dip switches inside there, and you can give each one an address, and therefore just one cable, and maybe you could wire that to your Axia X node, or your other GPIO node from any other manufacturer, and then you could, yeah, it just makes your wiring easier, more compact, a lot fewer wires. It could be, like 80% fewer wires. So this is the Henry Superlight's an LED tally light controller. There's a whole slew of other things that Henry Engineering makes. If you haven't been to the BGS website lately, maybe Suncast can take a look at that. The BGS website, you can see all of the Henry Engineering products, and that's quite a few of them. There's audio products, there's control products, there's even AC surge suppression products there with their whole series of power clamp products. Uh, you got all kinds of boxes there that'll solve problems that you need to solve. And hey, maybe you think you can I can build a box with these switches and these buttons to do this and that. Yeah, you can. And you know what? In the long run, you're going to spend more money and a lot more time building something yourself when Hank Landsberg, the owner of Henry Engineering, has probably already built what you need. Please check it out. You're going to find a lot of, something I like is you've got these PDU units here, right? The power distribution units, and they switch between two different supplies. Well, if you don't have a need that's big, is that big, like I got some little tiny radio stations, not like K-Love, and we use the Henry back UPS on our radio stations. Make it so for equipment like computers that only have one power supply, but you want to make sure they always get power, the Henry back UPS will solve that problem for you. You stick it in, you plug it in, you set a time if you want to wait a certain amount of time to go from UPS back to shore power. It's great. All this stuff from Henry Engineering you can get from Broadcasters General Store. And bgs.cc is the website, bgs.cc. Their phone number, 352-622-7700. Bill, did I do that from memory?
Yes, you did.
I didn't have a cheat sheet, did I?
No teleprompter.
352-622-7700 for Broadcasters General Store. You're going to love these folks. They have sharp pencils, smiling faces, and as Sam Phillips of Elvis Discovery fame used to always tell me, Kurt, call them pretty girls over at Broadcast General Store and get this ordered for me.
Just call Dave. Dave's such good people.
That's right.
Yes, he really is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Thanks a lot, BGS, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. We're with Bill Jackson. We're at K-Love at the new, building here that costs more than my house.
I'm not him. I just play him on television. You can see.
Our next video, we went down the hall.
To ID5, as we call it. ID5. It's an IDF closet on the 5th.
Did we ever figure out what IDF stands for? No.
I would tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
All right. Suncast, let us roll this tape of the IDF closet. Good engineering here. I'm going to go ahead and roll. We're walking past more studios here. What looks like a lounge. Here's the elevators. Oh, look, here is the IDF pre-action system. Wow, what is this?
This is the 5th floor IDF. If you know me, then you know that I am really focused on the merging, the thoughtful, careful, and prayerful merging of broadcast and enterprise principles. Because there is so much that we can learn from enterprise, and there is a lot for enterprise to learn from us. And I'm fortunate enough, blessed enough to be within an environment that I have a great working relationship with my IT team. And we can do things the same way and not affect much of our broadcast. It's about a compromise, it's about communication. These racks are built on some of those very principles. The switching system is such that this is Cisco's IPFM fabric. That's a whole another episode you and I can do. This is not any simple flat VLAN that you hook up. Each port is its own /30. We can talk about that other time. This is our business access to be able to have thin clients, codecs, things of that nature in here. This design is such that all of the odd numbered studios are in this rack. All of the even numbered studios are in the 3rd rack. This marries what's going on down in the data center. And if there's a fire in the data center, In row E, which is the odd numbered row, I still can operate off of the J row, which is the even numbered row. There's thought and process to make sure I have redundancy everywhere in this, because there's 1,100 sticks we've got to serve. So it's very important to those things. Down to the level of, we come around the back, we haven't made this pretty yet, but we're going to. This is power, three-phase power, and we're denoting what device is on what leg of power. And that's important because any analog audio coming out of that node when I hook up, I need to make sure I'm on the same phase power. Otherwise, we'll get 60 cycle hum because it's not common neutral, common ground. Okay? So a lot of thought goes into all of this to make things happen.
That's the back of the access switch for business.
Correct.
And that's your switches.
Your IPFM or AoIP switches, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
IP Fabric for Media is more than audio. It's also video and ways to manage that. Again, you and I could do a whole nother episode.
I'm sure we will. And
So-
but you'll be running video through that also at some point,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Wow.
Managed video traffic.
Wow.
So that's it. And again, it's the same thing over here. There's nothing different about it. I just know where my power is, and then my stuff runs from my patching in the middle, and I reach the switches where I need to over there.
Ah.
Cable color, power color, all of that is designed early on in combination with the IT team. Blue being any sort of multicast traffic, black being business access network, white being how we access PDUs and automatic transfer switches. Orange will be any type of audio, mic level, analog or AES audio. Violet is GPIO, serial, that type of traffic. Yellow is video traffic. So even the cable colors, how we even label everything will start with the type of traffic that it is. LVWR being Livewire versus DNTE versus Dante. NDI would be NDI video traffic.
Sure,
Right? So
sure.
all of that matters. It's a lot of thought and planning went into what we're doing.
Awesome.
So, and then the other part, so like these engines, this rack layout to show you how little equipment. You saw what was in the first studio we were in,
Right.
those 6 nodes. This is the node for that studio where speakers are going to get fed from, and also where some of Catfish's tally gadgets are going to sit right above here, and then we'll be able to do the signal lights based on that from this node. This is on air 3, on air 1, on air 3, on air 5, on air 7.
Yep.
Over there is 2, 4, 6, and 8.
Yep.
There's these engines are temporarily in this rack. These will eventually go down to the data center.
Ah.
That IPFM thing has some ramifications for the way that the console communicates with the engine, and that will be solved. They need to be in the same VLAN for right now, but Luca is great. He will solve that, and these will be better off down in the data center.
Yeah.
And so this rack will easily compress, and you're going to see how much I've gotten out of here. Okay? It's amazing. We used to have walls of 66 blocks.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's so much easier now. There's some codecs that are going to go down here. The majority of my iPort codecs are down there, but things like tie lines and SIP1s and Barrett's codecs and Comrex bricklinks and things of that nature. Sometimes you need to access the front panels of those things. We're going to put that where the studio technology team can actually manage them here, rather than have to go all the way down to the lower level and manage them down there.
There is so much more in this building, and it's under construction. I know we're going to come back next year and see finished, and we're going to see more, including television studios and things like that. Bill, thanks very much. This is amazing. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, that was the ID
5.
closet.
IDF 5. Fifth
And-
floor IDF closet.
And so does that closet serve the IT and some of the audio needs for all the studios on the 5th floor?
does for the technology in that room serves all of the studios on the 4th floor.
Oh, okay.
Down on the, I'm sorry, are the studios on the 5th floor. There are 2 newsrooms and master control and the knock that are down on the 4th floor. It serves for that room as well. Plus, it handles all of the office stuff all in that tiny little room.
And we're not even getting to the knock yet, are we?
No.
Oh my
That was a whole nother episode, brother.
Okay. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack. I'm here at K-Love at their new facility in Franklin, Tennessee. Here with Bill Jackson. He is the chief microphone plugger inner.
That works.
And we're instead of taking a commercial break, we're gonna roll right into our last video. We're on the 5th floor here, and then there are other floors where lots of K-Love operations are going on. But there's a very special and secure place that we're going to visit next.
That's the data center. And the data center is, without getting too redundant with what's coming up in the video, again, thoughtful, prayerful, careful merging of enterprise and broadcast. There are things in the data center, what we call the CDE or PCI compliance. We are listener funded. We take credit cards. So there's very secure areas. The InfoSec team doesn't even like us taking pictures in it. I got special permission from the CTO to do this. So it's very limited access of what we can actually do and see, but you'll get a pretty good of idea what we're talking about data center. It's not like, a switch data center, but it's significant and it's not something you're going to see. I don't think, maybe at the BBC, but I don't think you're going to see anything like this anywhere else in the world. It's business operations and it's broadcast all merged into the same room.
So we're going to take the elevator down to the lower level and let's check out the data center. We are about to go into the data center.
This is our data center. So this is modeled after a true data center you might find with Google or any of your typical data center providers. Those principles are here. It's not at that scale, but those principles are here. But again, it's about working with enterprise and working with broadcast so that you can do things. If this were a switch data center, I wouldn't get in there. But since there's broadcast in there, I need to. I have an agreement. There are aisles I don't walk down. There are things we don't shoot. Just follow me, stick close, and I'll make sure you can see what you need to see. So we'll come in here. So if we'll come straight down this way. That's up and running, by the way, Brian. We're going to come to this E row. Actually, let's go to the J row first. Okay. So they're working. Woo! Okay, so this is true hot aisle containment. The audio is coming up, cold air is coming up through the floor. It is getting sucked into the rack, into this room is hot aisle, and it's sucked up, out of those things. Straight up.
Wow.
Okay, right. So this is hot aisle containment, all right? And just as we saw in that 5th floor IDF, the power, this is all 3-phase power. Again, I'm noting what phase power things are on within this row. And this is the J row. FHQ J. J is a broadcast row, and this is my failover row. So all of my even-numbered studio-related things are in this row. E row, we'll go back down later, is all of the odd number and primary functions. If we come down, you'll note that I have 3 iPorts currently installed, with several more still to come for distribution. And these of course have 2 network connections. One would be AoIP, IPFM. The other would be a business network because it's a codec and it needs to traverse to public internet or WAN or what have you. So that's this, and then over here, a second rack. And these will get fuller later on. But these are nodes. This happens to be the secondary live wire clock for it. This is EAS. EAS is done locally at the site, but we need to know what EAS sounds like when we're broadcasting, so that's what this node does. It becomes audio sourcing, so we understand what's going on at the network at the time. And so that's what this is. That's what this whole setup is for. This is about to get pulled and a faceplate to name it, and we're about to do all of that stuff later on. We're really in the infancy in order to make some things happen. That'll kind of show you. And then later, you can shoot over here, there will be data center expansion as we grow. So it's already built for it.
Wow, beautiful. All right.
We'll come back this way and we'll see if we can hit E-row. I'll probably take you in the E-row for it. Oh, this is E-row, and you're coming in the hot aisle containment. And so that one that I showed you later on, that was this is the primary functions of those things. So the primary live wire clock versus the secondary live wire clock.
Yeah.
The Air 1 AES versus KLove VAS. Everything is split for redundancy. If there's a fire in a row, we can still operate off of this row. Gotcha. Makes sense? It's all built that way. 3-phase power again. Noting this node, if anything analog, it needs to be on the same phase that this is. Make sense?
Beautiful. Looks great.
All right. That's her. Let's take the side door and sneak away. Get you in just a couple.
All right. That was the data center.
Data center.
In the lower level.
Lower level. We do not call it the basement.
Okay.
Don't do it.
All right.
I know you want to, but don't do it.
So, of thinking about the 4 videos we've seen so far, or just tell us, what do you anticipate getting done here in the next 2-3 weeks, month, couple of months? What's left to do before a room like this one and some of the others become operational?
So by October 19th, this room and On Air 3 will be complete and on the air. We have the lighting grid to install in here. They will install this room first, On Air 3 next, and then they will do the other studios. The rest of the furniture, all the production rooms got installed. The 2 show producer booths are all installed. The news booths are there. News 2 is functioning now. News 1 will function tomorrow. Master control, we just need to hook up thin clients there, and that will be functioning. Master control is a unique thing. That's not the knock. This is critical listening, making sure we aren't hearing any drop packets or anything like that. It's quality control, human quality control. They also act as the switcher if we need to do a local news breakaway, what we call an LNB, in a marketplace. So hurricane coming to Louisiana, we need to break out for New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Lafayette and whatnot. They set a room up. Hey, I'm going to go do the LNB in News 2, and then Master Control will route that to the virtual channel that will feed those stations individually. So Master Control has that function.
Yeah.
Those will be functioning here by October 1st. Then there will be 4 more studios we'll build after the first of the year, which will be final on-air rooms. Podcasting is going to go on at the same time. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Wow. Maybe you could expand on something. A lot of engineers, a lot of people like myself think that your programming, KLove, Air 1 programming that goes out on FM transmitters all over the place, that it is in no way localized or can be localized. And yet you alluded to hurricane. I know hurricanes come through Florida, through Texas, through Louisiana. What are your capabilities for providing local or regional programming to places that need it right there?
We can take any studio currently in Rockland, California, 5th Avenue, downtown Franklin, Tennessee, the Mencken building in Franklin, Tennessee, and the news booth, News 2 right now, and we can put that studio on any single stick or any group of sticks that we need to.
You can address them individually,
yes.
or several of them in an area.
Yeah, it's all custom written software our team developed to be able to do that and route that through these channels. So we can be as local as we need to be. Springfield, Missouri, right? Tornadoes coming. To break in, let them know. Got a tornado coming. Here's its direction. Here's its speed. That's all important information. If there was an earthquake in California, same thing. We can break away to certain California stations or Oregon stations or Washington stations. It's important to be able to serve the public by being able to hit a group or even a single stick as necessary.
Wow. A lot of folks wouldn't really realize that. I had heard something that you could do that. I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And we can do that whether we're broadcasting out of the primary uplink in Rockland, California,
Mhm.
or whether we've switched to the backup uplink in Indianapolis. All that audio goes to both places
Ah.
at the same time, because I never know where we may be radiating from. So we need to send it both of them and just, oh, you switched? Okay, have fun. So,
Will you be able to will you be uplinking from here?
no,
Okay. You're
no,
sending it out from here.
yes,
Okay.
there's something in the works. It'll
Okay.
be an episode in a while. So
Okay. All right. You guys are exploring all kinds of tech. I mean, you're exploring Starlink and lots of if there's a if
got the
there's
t-shirt,
yeah if there's a tech
and the voices.
avenue
Oh yeah.
that could make radio work better,
Yes.
you're looking at it.
Yeah, it's important to me. I think it's important to the ministry, and I think it's important to all broadcasters. We have to break out of our shell. Listen to me. Stop just doing things because it's comfortable. You're killing the business. Break out of your shell. Don't just sit out until you retire. Learn new things, because if you don't, you are aiding in the dying of this business. And I'm going to be really mad at you if this business dies, because I love this business.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's a thing that I see even in our own staff. It's resistance, it's fear, it's this is how we do things. It's um and there is so much benefit to learning something new because it can make your life a whole lot easier.
Mm.
There is no way on the timetable that we are doing this stuff, spinning up a room and getting this is 3 days. You're
Mhm.
seeing what you see in 3 days.
Oh,
And there's audio playing.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I see that.
Speakers aren't hooked up because I'm waiting.
Yeah.
There's some dependencies in the project to make it happen, but literally this I could put this room on tomorrow if I
Yeah.
needed to.
Yeah.
Um, if you learn new things, you can be way more efficient and save yourself time and have better telemetry on those things than you ever could with bubblegum and baling wire. All that has been a necessary thing. Um, embrace something new. Um, I can't tell you how much better it's going to be for you to embrace technology rather than resist it the whole time. It's important.
That is a cutout segment right there. That's a great advice. Thank you.
No, my
That's
pleasure. So just telling the truth like it is. Truth as I know it. So
from the mouth of Bill Jackson. Bill's our guest today for a few more minutes. We've got a tip of the week coming up in just a couple of minutes.
don't buy junk bonds. Well, I'm out of here.
Bill, wait a minute. You can't leave yet. There's a business just a few miles over that way. It's a fellow that both of us know well.
Mhm.
It's Mike Dosh.
Catfish.
Catfish. He was my
Catfish.
boss at Telos Alliance for a few years.
He's my friend.
He's my friend too. I just
him good people.
yeah, yeah. You've got some angry audio stuff here. So we got 60 seconds to extol the virtues of angry. How are you using some angry audio's gear?
Um, Mike in particular is such a good guy and so incredibly sharp. When we do builds, particularly Corey Reynolds and I, we sit down when we get done and we analyze that build to look for more efficiencies. It's how
Mhm.
we've been able to speed the timeline up is we have conversations. We go, okay, we like this. We don't like this. We do this. And so I encourage you when you do a build, have those conversations, not only with your own technology team, but have those with your programming team. What do you like? What don't you like? What if this looked like this? Because all of that information goes into future decisions
Mhm.
and it helps. Out of one of those conversations, I didn't like the way we got the lights on the tip of the Mika mic arms to go. We're using a 66 block and a 24-volt power supply and some bridge clips and some baling wire and some bubble gum and then the GPIO node with this, not a bot yet. And then we got the thing to turn on and yay, and it works great, but it's just not efficient.
Yeah.
And we went to Mike and said, hey, so you got this little thingy here. What if it was a box that I could do 8 of these in?
Mm.
Okay. And it had its own power supply and we plugged it into 120 volts and do that. And so Corey kind of draws it out and Catfish is like, he even put my logo on it. I'm like, dude, he's detailed. He's one of the best finishing guys in the business. We turned it over to him And out of that became, he goes, say, so here's the Jackson gadget. No, it's the Reynolds gadget. He drew it out. I go, and yeah, you're building this for us, but I want this to be a product that others can have. So the Mike Tally gadget comes from collaboration about it, collaboration with Catfish, and that's a product that other people are using. If you haven't used a Mike Tally gadget and you're using Mika stuff, great. Makes your life so much easier. So much easier.
And it's controlled what from a GPIO node?
GPIO node. You stick a little dongle in the back of it.
Yeah.
It eats up pins to do it that way. You can use those pins for other things, but it's a little dongle. He'll custom make them for you, and you stick them in and go to town. All of Mike's stuff is just. I mean, we even have his. You look down there below you.
Oh yeah.
There's his headphone gizmo right there.
Yep.
Mike Telly gadgets are in there. The signal light gadget will be in, and the light will get hung from the ceiling grid here.
Mm-hmm.
The USB gadget is going in here. We'll use for pledge drives, for pledge coaching computers.
Yep.
Oh, all of his comedian stuff is really, really good too. He and Corny working on that stuff are awesome. So
obviously, we've got a fan here of Angry Audio. The website angryaudio.com. Check it out. You will not be disappointed.
Love you, Catfish.
Yeah, love you too, man. Hey, our show is also brought to you by these guys, Max Connect Wireless. Josh Bone is the guy who worked with several cell companies, several cell carriers to get you prioritized 4G LTE data. And that means that you can be in a stadium full of people who are all doing updates on their Facebook or their Instagram or whatever, or maybe their MySpace pages. And you're trying to do a remote broadcast. Well, guess what? You can, because your data has its own channels to go over that you're not sharing it with all these other people. It is from Max Connect Wireless. Check this out. Their website, I know it's spelled funny. It's MAXXKONNECT. You get to choose your carrier. Here in the USA, you have AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And I think in Canada, you've got a choice of a carrier or two there as well. They have a number of different 4G LTE modems, like the one that I'm holding here. This one happens to be made by PepWave. There's Cradle Point, and there's some others too. And they even have services that if you want a POTS telephone at your transmitter site, for example, you can install one of these. You can get a POTS phone service there. You just plug it right in. Maybe you've got maybe you've got a sign system or remote control or something else that needs POTS service. Well, Josh Bone and his staff at Max Connect Wireless can really help you out. Thanks a lot, Josh, and everyone at Max Connect Wireless for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. Hey, we've just got a couple minutes left. I'm talking to Bill Jackson. He is the chief microphone plugger-inner at K-Love. They feed out to over 1,000 radio stations.
1,100 and I don't know what the count is this week. 1,148, maybe.
One of them's in American Samoa. That's one of my stations.
That's one of them.
Wow.
It's a lot.
We're gonna wrap things up, but let's what words of wisdom were we going to talk about? That's every time I asked you during the break, you'd make a joke about
don't buy junk bonds.
Don't buy junk bonds. That's right. So there's got to be some things that our engineer friends can take away from your experience in building so many sophisticated studios so quickly.
The building of a studio starts months and months and months ahead before you've even engineered the equipment. I use, by the way, if you can get a hold of it, Wirecad is an absolutely awesome tool.
Wirecad.
Yeah. It is probably the premier tool for broadcast design.
Mm-hmm.
Love it to death. Couldn't afford it. So back when I was doing some boardrooms and classroom design, AV design, I used a program called DTools. And that's what it's specifically for. It doesn't do the broadcast stuff as good as Wirecad does, but I draw everything using Visio as an interface to pre-build all the studios on paper. That software then generates my parts list. And I get to send that directly to Travis at BGS, and that's my order. Wow. I know how much it's going to cost because I take the time to put the information in. And it's not just, okay, that piece of equipment is list and this is what I pay for it, but I can also put It's amperage, it's watts, it's volts. It will calculate the BTUs. So when they come to me and they say, "Hey, Bill, how much heat load are you going to generate in this room?" and I'll tell him, "Hey, it's going to be uh, three 300 watts." So
Yeah.
we'll calculate that, do the calculation to BTUs plus 5 people. Well, that's how much air load that we need, and that then sets what the supply and how we control the sound. So it's everything is drawn, and I don't leave it to chance. That drawing changes multiple times later on, but the foundation is there. And then because of that, even the IP addresses of things, now I can pre-configure equipment while all the construction is going on. It's all pre-configured. I come in and I plug it in, and 90% of the time it just works.
Yeah.
So we're able to build that because there's months of planning and pre-configuration, everything that goes on while construction is going on, or we're doing some other remote site. We pre-program it, then ship it there and walk in and plug it in because it's already programmed to work. So as much planning as you can do, the time, instead of spending it in the studio at that moment, you're doing that. It's more fruitful to do it ahead of time than do it while you're in the room. Make sense?
Yep.
So there's a lot of plan, document.
We preach that a lot on this show, but here's the solid results.
It works. It really does. If you take the time, it's going to pay dividends for you.
And your way of doing it. So if you say, "I'm going to plan this," it doesn't have to be the same way that Bill plans.
No, it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you're curious about systems, I'm not an information broker. I'll be happy to share what I do with you. But any system is better than no system.
Yeah.
Because not only is it troublesome to try and install it, but then there's the troubleshooting part of this that you're just going to be left. What color wire was that? And why did I do that? Well, all my wiring is color coded. I can walk up to it and I know it. All my host names mean something.
Oh yeah.
That helps in troubleshooting. The labels on the wiring help me quickly. So, I got this. It's connected to this. Okay, cool. That is a time saver later on. Invest the time early so that you know where everything is and you're going to be able to maintain it much better.
No, we're out of time. Bill Jackson, thank you so very much. Yeah, appreciate you. We're at K-Love in Franklin, Tennessee. Had a great time. We're going to be back because there's more to see in the coming months. Network Operations Center and maybe some video down the road.
We got the content capture spaces and the mix room, and there's a lot of stuff.
Hey,
and talk about IPFM and
that's right. IPFM.
Again, I can whatever you want.
And someday
acres of coleslaw. I can show you how to use Pathfinder to actually make coleslaw. I've done it. It's true.
Mounds and mounds of julienne fries, right? All right, we got to go. Thanks so much to all of our sponsors. Please patronize them. Tell them how much you love our show and you love them. Thanks so much to Suncast. Kept you really hopping. Thanks for all your troubleshooting, Suncast, to get us on the air today. Really appreciate you and appreciate you. We'll see you next week on This Week in Radio Tech.
Bye-bye.